my topic will be focused on delivering the production-ready Shiny application and highlighting the main areas that the application needs to fulfill to be called production-ready and to actually meet user needs. So instead of regular agenda, let me show you some personal story of my path as a Shiny developer, and this will explain why the topic is important. So as I start talking at the introduction to this session, I joined a consulting company and we started building Shiny application prototypes, proof of concept of Shiny applications that we shown to our management, and they were very impressed. So they actually decided we'll build a production software that will sell to our clients. And it seems very easy at start because we were able to deliver proof of concept like very quickly. But then along the way, we found out that actual production Shiny application consists of much more stuff than just a proof of concept Shiny application. And this is what we've learned. We were able, of course, to successfully deliver the product to our users, but it took more time. And we've learned a lot along the way, and this is why I want to share these lessons learned on those topics with you. Actually, how I see the Shiny, the greatest advantage of being able to produce such proof of concepts quickly is often a trap. And you might have heard such statements as that Shiny is not a tool for delivering production-ready solutions. And I see this exactly because the proof of concept can be delivered so easily that subject matter experts can just build something quickly, but then realize that it's hard to make it production because you need to cover all of those areas that I will be talking about today. With other technologies, they won't probably even start building proof of concept, but hand it over to the experienced software engineers. And then it may look like that it was easy to deliver it to the production. But with Shiny, it is as easy as with other tools, and it's only the fact that you need to get this experience and knowledge that we'll cover today. But what you have is a working proof of concept that you can deliver yourself if you are a subject matter expert, as I was doing in my early years as a Shiny developer. Okay, so this is basically our agenda. Some of the topics are pretty straightforward, easy, and probably you're already covering them. Some are maybe more sophisticated, but we will cover them all. And the biggest secret and the greatest lesson learned I will share at the end of this talk. Okay, so let me go through them one by one. So when we are delivering production application from proof of concept, we need to first find out where is our code. We've produced something that is like we present to our management probably, and now we want to expand this. So if your code is something like that, shared over an email or some Google Drive, it's probably the very wrong idea and we're not ready to go to production. So first idea is use the appropriate repository, Git, and branching system enabled to share the code among the team, because the production-ready applications for sure will require some collaboration with your peers. Okay, the common mistake is also sharing in a repository some parts that shouldn't be there, like data files. So this is big and make a mess in the repo, and use the database, use some file sharing applications, and definitely do not share in the repository the credentials, because you might actually violate some security on production-ready application. So, like, keeping some dummy password for a proof of concept might be fine, but actually on production, use either environment files, or if you are using RStudio Connect, there is this great option of environmental variables to be put there for the application. Okay, so our first lesson learned is sharing code. This is like the starting point for being able to deliver something more. Okay, now the common problem that we see among our clients that ask us to actually solve their problems with the proof of concepts and make it production ready is that it works on my computer, but it's not working somewhere else. So first problem is the using of the like direct paths to the files. So always make sure to use the projects that are available for our in RStudio, and this is like a must, even if you are doing like any work, even for yourself, or building like a Shiny contest application project, and relative paths are a key concept there. But what is like going deeper into this topic is the whole environment for your packages and our version. So I would recommend using current here that separates your project environment, your packages for your project from your other projects. It allows you to share the state with other developers within the team, and this is very, very simple to set up, and allows you to actually control your environment and be sure that your app will be working. I guess like a few days ago, I saw some tweet that it's amazing that my code works after like a year after, and it shouldn't be surprising for the like experienced R user. Like, you're just using Rent and you are able to reproduce your environment, and everything should work as it used to be. Then like next step is Docker images that you can create to be able to easily deploy and make sure that all of your environment, all of the system dependencies are the same. But what you should definitely do is start any project with any code that you are doing, start with project and environment, and then if needed, add the Docker. So this is our lesson learned number 2. Development environment is a key to be able to deliver production-ready application. Okay, what's then? As you know, Shiny apps are very easily to maintain, because usually there is UI file and server file. But it won't be when your apps start to grow. And in order to somehow be able to work on this, expand, maintain, and share with other developers, and probably even when you stop working in the project and others will take it over so that they can continue the work, consider using a package and extract your code to modules, to separate modules that will be responsible for different parts of application, and maybe use some R6 classes for encapsulating logic of different parts of application. I guess Anya in her part will cover more about making durable, maintainable code, but structuring it correctly is very important part of delivering production application. It's our lesson learned number 3. Okay, speaking about code structure, there is also you need to take care of other files that will be in app. So here you can see a preview of the folder structure of one of the projects that I delivered. And Shiny application is similar to other web development. So you will have a lot of CSS code, JavaScript code, and that that will make this difference for the production to speed things up, to make it more beautiful. So when you're start implementing this, make it like all clean and separated from other parts. So do not use it inline the R code. It's very tempting because it's like quick solution, but it will create a lot of mess there. Keep your dependencies in www folder so that they are automatically loaded to the application. Use minified files. As you can see here, the CSS minified files that we use based on SAS technology. I guess it will be covered in Pedro's session probably. This also allows you to load application quickly because it's loading like just one file instead of multiple of them. One more hint from me is if you have a big block of text, probably delivered by some experts, keep them separated so that your code inside looks very clean and you are just referring to this file, and the experts can actually modify it without interfering in the code and like possibly doing some bugs. So how to load external resources and organize your file structure. This is also a key thing to be able to maintain and expand the code. And this is our lesson learned number 4. Okay, now the very important topic and something that we all agree that is crucial for Shiny application. So the unit tests and tests at all. I always hear that this is important, but as you may already experience in project, it's not so easy to actually focus on the test. Here in this quote, it might be seen as a problem that non-tests are implemented, but CI is green, and this is actually a great first step, because I know that it is hard to keep adding tests and like doing everything by the book, but once you start with a continuous integration tool and some test structure, even without a proper test, this is a great start because you have the tests automated. And the biggest problem is not writing tests, but actually triggering them with all the changes. So what we've seen a lot in the projects is that the code is delivered for some time, then there is a like a stop. We need to do tests, and like a lot of time and effort is put into creating the tests for the whole code, and it's working fine at the moment. Then the development continues, but no one is actually triggering tests, so soon they become out of date and not working anymore. So actually introducing continuous integration, so automating tests is super important to be sure that it works fine. And right now with the tools like GitHub Actions, this is like easier than ever. So what we actually recommend you is that when you are start working on the project, attach the CI, use some test structure, and when you are delivering more of them, probably use some templates to reduce your work and reuse those good practices there. And this will allow you to add tests incrementally and while constantly checking if your continuous integration is green and everything passes, and you won't need to stop your project at some point to work on just tests. It should be done like together within the application, but it needs to be triggered automatically. Okay, so test is our lesson learned number 5. So The next problem that we spot a lot is that even if you introduce a lot of tests, unit tests, it doesn't mean that your application is doing what was expected. So what needs to be checked is the business logic. And here I can recommend a Drake package for building graphs as that one, which is actual graph that I produced for the project with the client. It was describing all the operations that were in the Shiny application, and this application was trying to reproduce the same logic as it was in some like big Excel file. So it might be a topic that you are familiar with, and using such graph with the objects as a green circles and the blue triangles as the functions, I was able to go with the client step by step what was actually implemented and check if this is fine, if this is like correct actions and correct order of the actions. But also what is super important, usually Shiny applications use some data unless it's some like game with sharks and divers collecting trash for the contest, but usually you want to present some data. And even if your code logic is fine, if you provide wrong inputs, your output will be just like incorrect and might be misleading for the users and might drive some wrong decisions. So what we do recommend is the data validator package that allows you to create a set of rules for checking your data and is producing the report, as you can see on this GIF, that is like checking your input values. So this can be a part of the Shiny application if it is like pulling some data from the database. So the first step can be a data check, and if there is something wrong, it can produce you a report like this to quickly validate your data. So it's like a good point to be sure that your application is doing fine. And this also can be a part of some like bigger logic. It can be a part of some scheduled job on RStudio Connect or something like this. You can learn more on the data validator GitHub page. Okay, business logic, it's our lesson learned number 6. And now the topic that is like happening in almost every project, that it works fine, but it's super slow when the real data is used. So basically why the Shiny application is often considered as slow. And we see 3 areas that can be improved: data, code, and deployment. So usually there is too much data provided to the application. So we recommend using some API or efficient data libraries and thinking clearly what actually needs to be loaded there. The code, so keep calculations outside of the Shiny. Maybe they can be like pre-calculated something. Keep actions in browser, so use JavaScript when it is possible, and make your code efficient. So avoid redundant loops or something like that. And deployment, we recommend you to deploy early to test your deployment like ahead of release date, and prepare architecture for concurrent users. How to make your application faster? I guess this will be covered by Pedro later today. But this is a very important topic that should be checked early on the production stage. So this is our lesson learned number 7. And finally, even if you deliver the greatest application ever with super performant, all the data is checked, all the code logic is checked, it's all green, it needs to be accepted by the users, and they actually need to find it intuitive and useful for their work. So user adoption is a key for the success, and in order to achieve it, invest in some user experience to make your application intuitive and like just enjoyable. Start with mockups and collect feedback on your application early and often. Do the hallway tests, in which I mean like just to quickly gather the feedback from your users. And this was also a key even for my Shiny contest app, that I just share it on the very early stages with my friends and family and just collect feedback. And it allows you to spot things that are probably you are familiar with as a app creator, but it won't be very intuitive and useful for the users. So pay attention to this. Make your app beautiful, because it's always makes it more enjoyable. And this Kamil will cover in more details of how to deliver that. So this is our lesson learned number 8. Okay, so we start with a Shiny app that was a proof of concept. It had many like aspects delivered in the wrong way, but we've added the different areas to this to make sure that the production application is a project that you need to look on more general way and make sure that those areas are covered. And now the greatest thing that we've learned, and that I've learned during my years as a Shiny developer, is that all of this you can actually start with your Shiny application. There is no need to wait for the production phase, that you finish your proof of concept. With good setting of your templates, of reusing your work, of good practices, when you start building your proof of concept with all of that in mind, your app will be just ready for production when you're done with proof of concept. And this is a great power of Shiny. Thank you. I'm looking forward for discussing with you. You can reach me there, or Q&A session